Telekom Malaysia has clarified the KL Tower is owned by the government, while the operations and maintenance of the structure are granted under a concession. In a statement filed with the board today, TM noted that it had undertaken the concession of the 420.7-metre telco tower since 1996 via its subsidiary Menara Kuala Lumpur. As part of its business transformation program, it is focusing its efforts and resources on strengthening its core business of telecommunications and technology. After due consideration on the change in the tower's business nature from telecommunications to tourism and hospitality, it decided last October to exit the concession. Subsequently, Putrajaya picked the new concessionaire and then informed TM of the appointed company, which took over Menara Kuala Lumpur's shares. TM said Menara Kuala Lumpur will continue to operate the concession and ensure the continuity of KL Tower's operations for the public, including international visitors. Menara Kuala Lumpur employees will be retained under the new concessionaire for at least 3 years. On Tuesday, Communications and Digital Minister Fahmi Fadzil said his ministry will examine the acquisition of the ownership of the tower's management by a general trading company called Hydroshop. This follows claims that the ownership of the tower was transferred quietly to Hydroshop, a company which is said to have a low paid-up capital. Meanwhile, the MACC has launched a probe into the matter. The anti-graft agency said it has summoned 3 witnesses and obtained some documents from the parties involved. Boustead Holdings has announced an interim dividend of 1.5 cent for FY 2022, its first in 4 years. According to its filing with Bursa Malaysia today, the dividend will be paid on March 27, 2023, with a February 27th ex-date and a February 28th entitlement date. Boustead Holdings, which saw Izzadin Daud appointed as its new group CEO last month, last declared an interim dividend in December 2018 at 1.5 cent. Today's announcement comes after the group reported a near double net profit for the third quarter of FY 2022 of 99.6 million ringgit, while revenue inched 0.2% lower to 3.67 billion ringgit. The increase in earnings was due to higher share of results from associates, arising from the contribution from 20.85% owned Affin Bank. In October, Affin Bank announced a single-tier special dividend of 18.09 cent per share following the divestment of a 63% stake in Affin Hwang Asset Management. It also proposed an interim dividend of 4.53 cent, amounting to 100.2 million ringgit for its FY 2022. The total special dividend amounted to 400.2 million ringgit, about 28.23% of the total proceeds of 1.42 billion ringgit. Boustead Holdings' share price closed 2.46% higher at 62.5 cent for a market capitalization of 1.26 billion ringgit. Pharmaniaga's unit has secured a further 6-month extension for its concession to provide medicines and medical supplies to Ministry of Health facilities up to end June 2023, pending the finalization of the new concession agreement. Pharmaniaga announced this in a board's filing today. It said during this period, Pharmaniaga Logistics is required to implement the Pharmacy Information System and Clinic Pharmacy System maintenance, license renewal, change request and system implementation at new facilities based on existing operating cost rates. This comes as the current 1-year extension, granted on December 28, 2021, nears its expiry as the year draws to a close. Shares of Pharmaniaga closed 0.9% lower at 54.5 cent, giving it a market capitalization of 713.93 million ringgit. Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim is set to present Budget 2023 at the Dewan Rakyat on February 24th next year. This is according to the official portal of the Parliament. The second session of the 15th Parliament will start on February 13th with the Yang di-Pertuan Agong's royal address. The second session will last 29 days. Speaking to the press in Kemaman, Terengganu, Deputy Finance Minister Datuk Sri Ahmad Maslan said the new federal spending framework will take into account the manifestos of all parties in the unity government. According to a report by Newswire Bernama, he said a special secretariat for the new budget has been established to examine and study the manifestos. Some improvements to the spending plan will also be considered to ensure it meets the people's needs. Ahmad said the government will continue with some of the initiatives announced by the previous administration in its budget 2023, including the 150 ringgit cash aid for every school student, regardless of family income, which will be disbursed beginning January 12. The previous government, led by former Prime Minister Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, tabled Budget 2023 on October 7th, but it was not debated at the Dewan Rakyat following the dissolution of Parliament on October 10th. TT Vision Holdings has set its initial public offering price at 34 cents per share in a bid to raise 32.3 million ringgit, mainly to fund working capital requirements. Slated to list on Bursa's ACE market on January 18th, TT Vision said the exercise entails a public issue of 84.5 million new shares to raise 28.73 million ringgit and an offer for sale of 10.5 million existing shares to selected investors for 3.57 million ringgit by way of private placement. Of the 28.73 million ringgit proceeds it expects to raise, 10.68 million ringgit has been earmarked for working capital and 8 million ringgit for research and development. 6 million ringgit will go towards the repayment of bank borrowings, 850,000 will be used for marketing activities, and 3.2 million ringgit to defray listing-related expenses. It will have a market value of 159.12 million ringgit. Notably, TT Vision was listed on Bursa's lead market in 2019 and undertook a voluntary withdrawal in 2021. The Penang-based company started in 2001 with its vision inspection modules designed for local semiconductor companies in the state. Today, its principal markets are Malaysia and China. For FY 2021, it posted a profit after tax of 8.34 million ringgit on the back of 47.26 million ringgit in revenue.